I'm Terry Owens. Welcome to Conversations with TL, where people share how they're overcoming their challenges to make life better for themselves and others. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. You know, when I got out of college, I was convinced I was going to set the world on fire. I had a degree in journalism, and I was going to be the guy to replace the legendary Ed Bradley when he finally decided to retire from 60 Minutes. Now, I knew I wasn't going to start at 60 Minutes. I was going to take the traditional path. I'd start in local television news and work my way up to the network. And so, like everybody, I started sending resumes. I applied for jobs from California to Florida, sent dozens and dozens of resumes. And every month, I watched the rejection letters trickle into my mailbox. I tell you, after a while, I was just completely deflated. And finally, I talked with a friend who worked at a local television station, and she shared my resume with her station's general manager. Within a matter of weeks, I had a job in television news. It was at WGPR TV, the nation's first Black-owned and operated television station. I would launch my career in television news at a station that was 3 blocks from my house, literally in my backyard. I could walk there. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Early on in my career, one of my challenges was overcoming a fear of public speaking. And I got some coaching. I joined some different organizations to help deal with that. And if public speaking is a challenge for you, the team at Owens Media Group would love to help. You can shoot me an email. Here, let me put my email address up on the screen. That's terry@owensmediagroup.net. terry@owensmediagroup.net. Here it is. terry@owensmediagroup.net. Just shoot me an email. We'd love to help. Don't let a fear of public speaking stop you from realizing your dreams. And now to our guest. We are super excited today to have with us Martha Davidson. She is the visionary behind Empowering Minds Now. Martha is a dedicated businesswoman dedicated to empowering women leaders in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. Martha is a certified expert in neuroscience coaching and leadership and a distinguished international speaker and author. Martha, welcome to Conversations with TL.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here and honored to be here also.
Well, we are just tickled pink to have you because I know your story and I'm super excited to have you share it with our audience. You've had an amazing career, absolutely amazing, but there was a time in your life when many never would have believed that you're enjoying the success that you're having right now. Can you share a little about what you had to overcome as a child to get to where you are today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my life started a little unique. I was born an orphan. My mother transitioned having me. And by the grace of God, I ended up in Cleveland Clinic, which was one of the most prestigious hospitals in the world. But because of her illness, they wanted to try to save both of us. But she transitioned, and somebody asked me what transition meant. She passed away, and I ended up in Cleveland Clinic's first neonatal, and that particular area was very new. They had just hired the woman sometime in 1952. Yes, I'm 70. I'll be 72 in June. In 1952, they hired her, and I was one of the first patients in this neonatal um, intensive care unit. And as a result of all their good work, I went back to Akron, Ohio, which is where my birth mom lived. Ended up in foster care and had been through 6 foster care homes before the age a 6.
Mm.
I was really disconnected. I really didn't know what was happening. I know whatever it wasn't right. And being in so many different homes didn't really help me understand who I was, why I was here. And I felt so disconnected that I got what they call selective mutism. That's when children are very traumatized at an early age and
Mhm.
they choose not to communicate or speak. And that was me. What happened in this particular case is that I was not adoptable. And but through the grace of God, my mom showed up, and she had an amazing story. She had had 5 miscarriages, and
Mm.
she was in a state of depression. And somehow, but through God, she was able to find out about me. I did the earliest adoption process, she said, in the history of Akron, Ohio. And she brought me into the family. I had an older brother and my father. And so I asked her just before she passed away a couple of years ago. I said, "Mom, why did you have to tell me how to roll my tongue and do all that stuff?" She said, "Baby, didn't nobody know a word what you were saying, and I had to fix that right quick." And so that started my journey of having someone love and care for me to that extent. She went through a lot in terms of me having low esteem, not really doing well in school. She fought the school system hard. I didn't really realize it until I got much older that they wanted me in special ed. She's like, "Not my baby. She's not going to special ed." She
Mm.
sat down with dry beans, y'all. I don't know if y'all know what those, but those are like those pinto beans or black eyed peas y'all getting ready to cook in a couple of days. And she taught me math. She had a ninth grade education. She was a hairstylist, but she went to the school, asked them how to do new math. She sat down with me daily and taught me new math. She walked me to the library. I was about 10 years old when they were like, "You are going to put her in special ed." She said, "I'm not." So that was her determination that I wasn't going. And so she walked me to the library, and so I had to do a 2 book assignments. One was an oral, and one was a written. We continued that journey for like two years,
Wow.
and literally, Terry, I didn't even realize it until just before she passed away. She said, "Let's go in this room and clean up some stuff." Out pops out something that says, "Congratulations, Martha Thompson, for being in the 8th grade honor society."
Wow.
And
Nothing like a mother's love, is there?
you're right. And what that taught me, and we could get into that later, is consistency,
Mhm.
persistency, and resilience. I call that the CPR of life.
Mm.
When you begin
So,
to,
so going from a student that they wanted to put into special ed to someone with all kinds of gifts and talents that the universe hadn't recognized. When did you figure out that you had some special gifts?
I would say my special gifts came probably in around 25, 30ish, because I was always a person, because of what she had instilled in me, always on the path of growing. Even when I got out of college, I was in Dale Carnegie. I was in everything that helped me propel to be better. And so I also suffered from that self low esteem that really wasn't dealt with. But I knew that there was more for me, and I knew that I could do more. So I continued to grow and grow. And as a result of that, tapped into my gift, which is basically doing root cause analysis.
Hmm.
And I would ask a lot of questions when I was a kid. She said, "I don't know nobody as nosy as you." But that was my gift, to go deep inside of problems and resolve them. And that's what I've done for corporations globally for the rest of my life. Really, I'm still in this space in cybersecurity area, technology. I actually have a degree from Howard University in sociology. So I actually managed that because sociology, my purpose and passion is in serving others. But my gift from a perspective of the corporate world is doing root cause analysis. And that's what I've thrived on.
So tell us about Empowering Minds now. How did you
Mhm.
arrive at this decision that you wanted to help women navigate the corporate environment?
So I wanted to help because nobody helped me, right? No one really, all they did was criticize me for, well, you didn't cross your T right. You didn't dot your I right. But oh, by the way, yeah, you did good resolving this problem, but you're not ready to move up. You're not ready. Even though I was with a corporation for 18 years, AT&T, and I did rise. But I just felt that they weren't pouring into me the mentorship, pouring into me instead of pointing out the minor issues. They did not show me how to grow in that space of being a leader and a manager. I did all of that on my own. And a lot of it was based on the fact that if it was a problem, Martha could solve it. And it was a result of that I had to navigate leadership and didn't know quite how to do that. One, I hadn't really healed from a lot of my trauma. And so I would show up at meetings trying to show that I was the best and I knew the best. But in actuality, I was a more of a distraction because I wasn't one listening to the people that were in the room, and two, I wasn't aware of the value that I could offer if I just decided to listen. So
Mhm.
that was my really turning point. That women, and they just did a study. Fast Company and McKinsey Company did a study for 2023 women in the workplace. In 2023, African American women are at a lower rate of getting into the executive suite than they were in 2018.
Mm.
And a lot of it is because we don't have the exposure to the mentorship. We don't have exposure to having somebody pat us on the back and saying that you're doing a good job. Hey, have you thought about doing this? I work with women in my jobs, always telling them there's more. And don't let other people use you. We find ourselves oftentimes, especially women, feeling like we have to over deliver and get overlooked.
Mm.
So we over deliver and we get overlooked. And it's basically because of the structure of the gender bias, but that is not a reason not to thrive.
Mm.
How do I know that? I've been around the world. I've had jobs where I literally was walked off the job because I made too much money as an African American woman. I have had the opportunity to sit and say, God, why? I remember a job that I got, and I can talk about it. It was Bell South, and I was sitting on my couch crying my heart out. Like, Lord, why did this happen to me? Because I got walked off of this other job because I made too much money. I get this call. I don't even remember applying for this job, but they said, can you meet me down at the headquarters office tomorrow? We want to interview you for a job. Really didn't know what the job was, but it basically was I was the cybersecurity executive director of all of South America.
Wow.
And I was like, in my season, sometimes we have to wait because God had a bigger plan for me. He
Mhm.
needed me to prepare for that. And it was an amazing journey. I worked with 10 men and 2 women, and we developed a complete cybersecurity governance plan that was accepted and was recognized even by the PwC, who actually helped me in putting that together. So that what shows me is that even though I didn't have all the training as a leader, I believed in myself enough that time that I was recognized. all
Mm.
the way to they actually ended up selling this portion of the business. And I was recognized and celebrated all the way to the end. My manager called me and said, "We got to pick 3 people that need to stay, and you one of them to
Wow.
close the door."
Wow. Martha, tell me then, so how are you helping women now?
hmm So right now, am I'm doing it a couple of ways. One is I mentor all the time.
Mhm.
Everybody's like, "Oh wow, you know, just share with me some of your nuggets," and I do that on a regular basis in any environment I'm in. I also am in the Google Ambassador program that they have. It's a global program for women in tech.
Mhm.
I applied and got into that. I also speak. I speak a lot on the issues of leadership and how, when we understand our brain and our heart, we can overcome the barriers that we think are impossible and we can become possible. And so I also am on the board of directors of an organization called Pink STEM, where we serve women, and not women, young children from between the ages of 8 and 18,
Mhm.
preparing them in the STEM space. So that's my goal. That's my joy of how I share. Empowering Minds is taking it to another level. It's taking us to a level of understanding, how do I go from stressed out to stand out? How
Mm.
do I use my brain and my mind differently? We know a lot about mindset, but
Mhm.
we don't know about brain and how we can use our brain more effectively. Every part of our brain is connected to every function in our body. So if we understand how that works, and we understand the power of nutrition, and we understand the power of thoughts, we are able to overcome what we thought we couldn't overcome because we have the power to shift the energy.
Mm. What drew you to the field of neuroscience?
Yeah. So actually, what happened was I did a program. I'm a certified life coach, and I did a program in NLP and loved them, loved the organization, everything. But I started going to their conferences, and I'm like, all these people, they go through NLP, which is amazing, but they didn't have sustainability. And so I said, there's got to be more to this NLP. And I looked up someone that you may know, Shantae Javon Taylor, and I joined her program that following year after doing NLP. And I've been with Shantae ever since. I do neuroscience readings. I look at different ways that we can use our brain more effectively. But that's how it really started with my NLP training, and I thought there should be more, and there was more. And
And so, how does this neuroscience coaching
mhm,
work? What is it exactly that you're doing that
mhm,
helps people unlock their potential?
sure. So I look at it from five key. Actually, there's 6 key ways. Resilience. We talked about earlier, when you have that consistency, that persistence, and that resilience, when things come your way, you have a couple of ways you can attract differences of how to manage that. One is you can reappraise that or rephrase how you want your life to be, and be able to bounce back and use your challenges as opportunities. So I
Mhm.
go through a whole step of how you use your challenges for opportunities. I just share one of mine where I was laid off, didn't know what I was going to do. And when I realized and took it from a different perspective, doors open up. And that happens a lot with people. A lot of times we don't want to leave a good job. We got family and stuff, but sometimes you have to take the leap.
Mhm.
And getting you prepared for that is making sure that your mindset is one that is of a resilience, and understanding how you can take that pain that you're, or emotional struggles that you're having with your, how you think and how you feel. You can you can reframe that, and what they call retrain your brain.
Mhm.
And then the second component of that is inner strength. You asked me, how did I know my gifts? It came from the fact that I had to understand what my I call my inner brilliance gift, and then how to use the brain. We don't really know that some of the most things we take for granted are areas where we are already endowed through the brain. That's our intention. Our intention is our GPS. When you set goals, that takes you to where you want to go, just like the GPS takes you to where you want to go.
Hmm.
When you set influence, when you believe that you have something that you can share, you become what? The expert. You have the influence to make the difference. Intuition is something that we all push away. You know, you had that gut feeling, but oh no, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. That's your intuition. So we have to strengthen that, because if you feeling it, it's because you have some experience, because the brain knows that there's a connection. They always have a gut feeling, but it's the connection of the two. And
Hmm.
then the other one is innovation. We all have creativity. We have a side of our brain that we call the left side. We call the right side our creativity. Left side is our analytical. We had these studies. I mean, when I was at AT&T, manager leadership was key. And we had this man come in and tell us about the left brain and the right brain. And oh, you a left brain or you a right brain. We went around claiming, oh, you know, I'm a right brain. Oh, no, I'm a left brain. Do y'all know what you are doing? You are putting in your head. And because the mind does whatever you tell it, that you're not worthy enough to be able to use both sides of your brain. We are supposed to use both sides of our brain. We're supposed to use the whole brain for the purposes of the analytical side, and the purposes of the right brain is our creativity. When you merge those together, you're a powerhouse,
Hmm.
right? So, and then
That's a whole word in itself right there, Martha. And I
uh-huh,
think back on some of my past experiences and how I allowed myself to tell myself that I wasn't good at something and so didn't even attempt it. And who knows the kinds of opportunities I missed just by what I was feeding my brain.
yeah, I always talk about self perception and self communication is what holds us back so much. Our self perception, because we grew up in a world that what people thought mattered more than what you thought, right?
Mm,
And so you sort of live in that comparitis syndrome where, well, if somebody's doing this, then I can do it, but it's not happening for me, because you're telling yourself
mm,
and you're comparing yourself. God gave you different gifts than they gave you, and God gave you. And so when you hone in on somebody else's, they doing that, that's taken away from you, because you say, what is it that I have to give? But we get in that comparitis, we get into that state that um, I'm not good at math. I was like, my son used to say that. I said, where are you getting that from?
that was
Where?
me. That was me. Date
And
of my existence.
studies show that when kids come in here with that attitude, what happens? They don't do good on the test,
Yeah.
because you've already self proclaimed that you ain't gonna do good because you don't do good in math.
And then it
And
just compounds itself because you have a setback. I failed some math and just shut it down. Didn't even try to push through. And who knows where that took me. We've got just a couple minutes left, Martha, and I cannot let you get away without talking about your most recent recognition. You're just back from London. Tell me what that was all about.
yes, what that was about was the fact that I met a mentor that I really didn't know her power and influence. But I met her at a speaking engagement I did in Paris, France. And she said, we're going to get together and we're going to do some work together. I'm like, okay. I didn't hear from her for almost a year. And then she told me that she wanted me to come over to Cambridge University and speak as a research individual that could provide insight on sustainability of hybrid workplaces after COVID. And I did that. And she's like, well, I have an opportunity for us to be in the Guinness World Record as the thickest book. And I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm not interested. She said, oh, come on, try. So I did. And I told basically my story, which you know, have asked me to share, and I got accepted into the Guinness World Book of Record under her umbrella, which is 23 change makers in the world. I was
Wow.
like, me? 23 change makers in the world. I was sort of underplayed. But I said, God gave me this opportunity, and I need to be celebrating that it was given to me so that I can continue to be an influence globally in the world. So
Mm.
that's what happened. I got an award. I don't know if you can see it,
Let me
but
see
it
it. Oh my
basically
goodness.
from that, I have a certificate that actually talks about only 40,000 people. And I was like, I was shocked, have received this award.
Wow.
And as many people try to do it worldwide, I just was amazed that only 40,000 people have actually made it. So I'm blessed and grateful and thankful.
Well, I am blessed and grateful to know you, and I am so grateful that you would come on Conversations with Tio and share your story. Thank you so much, Martha. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure.
All right. That is Martha Davidson, CEO of Empowering Minds Now. Let me make sure that I get her website up one more time for those of you who are interested in knowing more about the work that she is doing. You see it there on your screens, Empowering Minds. Or that's actually her email address. And she says it is okay for you to email her if you'd like to do that. But
Yes.
here's her website. It's empoweringmindsnow.com. Empoweringmindsnow.com. Martha Davidson, CEO, thank you so much for joining us on Conversations with Tia.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And that is going to do it for this episode of Conversations with Tio. Remember, keep pressing toward your dreams and always, always find a way to enjoy the journey. I'm Terry Owens. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.